Cricket World Cup week is finally here, and I, for one, couldn't be happier. Most of you might know me from doing shows with Brent Game on Good for the Games, The Handicap, and Use It or Lose It. But for a change, I'm skipping the rugby and going straight to my first love, which is cricket, and more specifically, cricket punting. In this video, we'll look at some of the outright betting markets available for the Cricket World Cup. I will do a second video where we look at some of the alternative markets and the bets that I'll be having in terms of best batsman and some other specific markets. But for this one, let's look at each team quickly and decide on where the value could be found. Firstly, we've got England. England have got a powerful opening pair in Johnny Bairstow and Jason Roy, who are capable of getting them off to fast starts. They've got experienced middle order with Joe Root and Owen Morgan capable of solidifying things and setting them up for a big finish. The big finish is often provided by Josh Butler, who comes in later down the order. Ben Stokes is also more than capable at clearing the ropes, and they've even got people like Wokes who can do some big hitting. England have been known for the deep batting order, where they've got someone like Adil Rashid coming in as low as number 10. Talking about Rashid, he's a quality wrist spinner who knows his game well, and should the pitches in England offer some assistance, he'll be a vital option for his captain as he could get some much needed wickets in the middle overs. Of course, England have got plenty of pace and swing to their disposal. The inclusion of Jofra Archer was a big factor in this. He's got some quality pace that he could add to attack and some good death bowling. And of course, there's never a shortage of swing bowlers in the English lineup. Problem areas for England going into the World Cup are some fitness concerns, especially around the bowlers, but also Owen Morgan picking up a bit of a finger niggle. Then there's also the normal home pressure and expectation of the home fans, hoping that England will bring home the trophy for them. This could often inspire you to greater heights, but it could also be a bit of a weight weighing you down. There is some uncertainty in the English ranks regarding what their best bowling attack is. Archer is a new inclusion to the team, and this will mean a bit of a reshuffle, and they need to find their best balance. Everyone has been talking about the strong English batting lineup, and now they could potentially be pushing towards big totals nearing 500. Yet, when setting a score, they could often pick up a little bit of trouble if they lose a few early wickets, and other teams could put them under some pressure as they rely heavily on their batsmen and could potentially have a few weaknesses in the bowling lineup. At 11-2, England are odds-on favourites to win this Cricket World Cup. Second favourites in the betting is India. They've got experienced winners in the like of Virat Kohli, Mahendra Singh Dhoni, Rohit Sharma, Shikhar Dhawan, and Ravindra Jadeja. They've also, of course, got the world's best ODI batsman in Virat Kohli and the best ODI bowler in Bumrah. Bumrah should be a vital cog in the wheel in this World Cup, with conditions likely to suit him perfectly. In terms of spin quality, few people can match what India can put out onto the park, and should the pitches become drier and slower, they could definitely be top contenders with Chahal, Yadav, and even Jadeja offering some good options there. The negatives for India is that the openers could find things tough in some of the swing conditions expected in England. We've seen in Test cricket that Rohit Sharma isn't nearly as effective as is in the shorter format of the game, and this is an area that people could look to target them. After Virat Kohli, they've also got some middle order issues and concerns which they need to address if they want to go far in this tournament. Apart from Bumrah, they also lack some quick bowlers who can really do some damage. And if the teams can see off Bumrah, then there could be some runs to be ahead of some of the other seamers, especially if there isn't too much spin in the wicket. At the short odds of 3-1, I think India are surprisingly overrated in this tournament. Australia came into this tournament under a bit of a cloud, but they've rectified matters over the last series or two, and they now welcome back Steve Smith and David Warner, who are two quality cricketers despite being out of the game for a while. They've got explosive lower order hitters in Stoinis and, of course, Maxwell, the big show, were more than capable of clearing the ropes. Quality quicks in Mitchell Stark and Pat Cummins offer them some good firepower to try and knock over some wickets. And conditions shouldn't be entirely foreign to them. Almost like South Africa, they're a bit more used to conditions which could suit some of your seam bowlers. As a rule, Australia have this knack of performing well in the pressure situations, and this could hold them a good stead in the World Cup. Some of the areas of concern for Australia are, of course, the state of the game, which has been in a bit of turmoil, and you can expect the crowd and the home fans to really give them a hot welcome and try and get under the skin of Warner and Smith specifically, and the team will have to find a way of coping with this pressure. They don't have the most potent of spinners. Zampa is capable, as is David Lyon, but they're just not quite match winners to the like of Chahal, Yadav, Tahir, and the like. Stark's form and lack of game time is a hot topic at the moment. If he can be at his very best, then he could be a vital cog in the Australian wheel. But should he come in underdone, there could be a bit of an issue for them around that. And after Steve Smith, there are some middle order questions that they need to answer going into the World Cup. Then we've got the Proteas. We, of course, have Imran Tahir was the leading wicket taker in the IPL and is proven to be a big, important wicket taker for Faf du Plessis as well in the middle overs of one-day games. Kagiso Rabada is arguably one of the most in-form bowlers in world cricket at the moment and is another vital cog in South Africa's attack. And the Proteas have a very experienced outfit. Dale Steyn, Hashim Amla, and Faf du Plessis have been around in cricket and they've seen it all and done it all before. In Quinton de Kock, the Proteas also have one of the finest wicketkeeper batsmen in world cricket at the moment. The negatives for South Africa is a definite over-reliance on the bowling lineup. They could potentially have the strongest bowling lineup coming into this World Cup, but their batsmen need to try and back this up in some way. Amla's form has been a big area of concern for them, and they'll hope that the experienced run maker can be back to his, if not best, at least close to it. If we go opt for the option of having Dale Steyn and Lungi Ngidi both playing, then this means that the Kagiso Rabada could come in as high as number 8, which leaves South Africa with quite a long tail. Then there have been some fitness concerns. All three of the big fast bowlers have little niggles, and South Africa will need them to stay fit for the entire competition should they want to have a chance of winning the trophy. Last but not least, there's the big C word, which no South African would want to talk about. On to New Zealand, and they've been a team that have been bubbling under the radar coming into the big event, which is a bit surprising since they've got two experienced quality fast bowlers in Tim Southee and Trent Boult, and should conditions be favourable for them with a bit of swing around in those morning games, they could be more than a handful. They've got a few good all-rounder options and, of course, a solid top order with Taylor, Williamson and Guptill, all experienced run-getters for the team. At 12-1, it looks quite a big price on the Kiwis. The negatives for New Zealand is that if the ball doesn't swing, their bowling lineup is a bit one-dimensional and could leak runs. Their spinners aren't nearly of the quality of some of the other teams, and this is going to be a bit of a concern for them, especially if the tracks end up being slower and lower. They also have some lower order issues because after the strong top 4, they don't really have much else. Pakistan come into this tournament as a lot of people's dark horses, and one of the main reasons for this is that they've got swing bowlers who could find conditions to their liking. They've got some top quality top order batsmen, Babar Azam being one of them, and they'll rely on them to try and get them some big runs. And we saw in this past series with England that they're more than capable of notching up the 300 totals. Talking about that series, they are fresh off it and have shown now that they've got five games under the belt in English conditions, so they should be well up and well prepared for this tournament. At 18-1 odds, you could definitely do worse. The problem areas for Pakistan is that they are often inconsistent performance, and they've got a propensity to fail under pressure. This side is as likely to chase down a 350 total as they are to fall flat trying to trickle off 450. They've got a lack of wicket-taking options on flat decks. They don't have serious pace to try and bump a team out, and they don't really have some of the top spinners of the other teams, and thus getting wickets at crucial times could be an issue for them. Lower order batting will also be a concern. Lastly, we've got the West Indies. No one can argue about the X factor that this team has across the park. From the opener to the number 10, you can know that these West Indians are capable of clearing the rope and clearing it with room to spare. On that day, someone like Chris Gayle or Andre Russell could take a game away from you on their own. The negatives for the Windies are that they don't have real world-class spinners that can win in a game, and their seamers aren't really quick and they aren't really great swing bowlers, and thus the attack could leak quite a number of runs. And they've got an inconsistent batting lineup, often relying on one player to come through for them with a special innings. Much like Pakistan, the West Indies have a knack of being mentally fragile, and they could lose chasing a small total. In summary, I've made a bit of a list here of the best book that you can get on your outright plays. Looking at this, you can get England. I've tried to look at most of the bookies that I could think of, and these are the prices, the best prices we could get. England are available at 11 to 5 with bet.co.za and player bets. India you can get at 3 to 1 with WSB and Sunbet. Australia at 9 to 2 with Hollywood bets. South Africa available at 10 to 1 with most bookies. New Zealand at 12 to 1 with GG Gaming. And Pakistan 18 to 1 with GBets and WSB. And lastly, the Windies at 20 to 1 with WSB and GG Gaming. In trying to determine a strategy for who you want to go for outright, I'd say going by the way of elimination. To me, you just shouldn't be wasting your money on the Windies. Yes, they are likely to probably topple one of the big boys on their day, but they're just as likely to come up short against Afghanistan or Bangladesh. Over the long run, they just won't be consistent enough to get themselves into the semi-finals, and I wouldn't be wasting money on the men in maroon. Then, to me, the most overvalued team in this competition, or overrated team, is India. I've said it in the preview. To me, I just feel that in the English conditions, especially early on and especially in the morning games, we could see them struggle. We saw in the warm-up game they were rolled quite cheaply. And to me, this is just a Indian team with quite a lot of questions around them. And unless the tracks really take a bit of spin, they, to me, are overrated at 3 to 1 and should be opposed in the betting. So this allows you with two teams on the higher scale of things. You can get Pakistan at 18 to 1 or New Zealand at 10 to 1. Of these two, I would say New Zealand is my personal preference, but I wouldn't put anyone off taking Pakistan. But for mine, New Zealand are a pretty well-balanced team, and you can always rely on Williamson and Taylor to try and get them through and try and get them into the semis. And from there on, anything can happen. At the top of the betting board, it's a two-horse race for me between Australia and England. Of course, I'm giving South Africa a skip. Of course, quite frankly, you just can't take them in the World Cup. They just don't have the BMT to go all the way. And this year, they might have a great attack, but they just don't have the batting lineup to make the necessary runs. So that leaves Australia and England. Australia at 92 offer good value. England are just too short to back since you just won't be able to take any cover on them during the tournament. So if you want to go for one of those two, Australia will probably be your best call. Personally, I've got a deal with Bet Olymp, which they've made available to me, and they've given me 6.25 to 1 or 7.25 outright on naming the finalists, and the finalists being England and Australia. So at this stage, my preferred punt in the outright market would be going for name the finalist, England and Australia at 6.25 to 1. I think you're getting a cracking value there, and you could take some cover depending on who the semi-finalists are. If both Australia and England get theirs, I think then you could trade off some of that. But for me, at this stage, that is the way to go, and perhaps a little bit of banker insurance on either New Zealand or Pakistan to be the bolter. I will be doing a second video later on looking at the special and alternative markets, and we'll be having some special punts there where we could find some value, and hopefully that's where we're really going to be digging deep and trying to make some good money. Thanks for joining me, and see you again on that one.